Heartbreak does not feel poetic when you're inside it. It doesn't feel like a sad song, or a rainy window, or a dramatic movie scene. It feels like something inside you has been violently ripped out, and your nervous system is screaming, "This is a threat. This is not safe. This is not survivable." Your chest tightens. Your stomach drops. Your appetite disappears. Your sleep collapses. Your thoughts loop obsessively. Your identity fractures. You feel hunted by memories. Ambushed by silence. Paralyzed by loss. And at some point, usually in the quiet, usually alone, you think, "This feels like attempted murder." And then the next thought comes, "If this hurts this much, why can't I sue them? Why is it legal for someone to enter your life, become your emotional oxygen, and then leave you psychologically bleeding on the floor? Why does the law shrug at something that feels like emotional homicide?" Tonight, we are going to answer that. Not dismissively. Not coldly. But truthfully. But why does a heartbreak hurt like a crime? Let's start with the most important truth: your pain is not imaginary. It is not weakness. It is not exaggeration. From a biological standpoint, heartbreak activates the same brain regions as physical injury. 1. The brain processes heartbreak as physical pain. Neuroscience shows that emotional rejection activates the anterior cingulate cortex and insula, the same areas that light up when you experience burns, cuts, or blunt trauma. Your brain does not say, "Oh, this is emotional, so it's less serious." Your brain says, "This hurts. This is danger." That's why your chest physically aches. You feel pressure or stabbing sensations. Your body shakes or goes numb. You feel exhausted but can't sleep. To your nervous system, heartbreak is not metaphorical pain. It is real pain, using the same circuitry as bodily injury. 2. Love is an addiction. And breakups are withdrawal. Love floods the brain with dopamine, reward; oxytocin, bonding; serotonin, stability; endorphins, relief. When the relationship ends abruptly, those chemicals drop violently. What does that resemble? Drug withdrawal. That's why heartbreak causes cravings for contact, obsessive thinking, emotional instability, anxiety and panic, physical sickness. You are not dramatic. You are detoxing from a human being. 3. Attachment loss triggers survival panic. Humans evolved to survive in groups. For most of human history, losing your primary bond meant less protection, less food, less survival. So when your attachment bond is severed, your nervous system doesn't interpret it as romantic disappointment. It interprets it as, "You have been abandoned. You may die." That's why heartbreak can feel existentially threatening. So, if we all agree IT hurts this much, why isn't IT a crime? Now comes the painful question. If heartbreak causes psychological injury, physical symptoms, long-term trauma, identity collapse, why doesn't the law treat it like assault? Why can't you sue your ex for pain and suffering? The answer is uncomfortable but essential. Sadly, the law does not protect feelings, it protects boundaries. The legal system is not built around emotional pain. It is built around violations of rights. For harm to be legally punishable, it must meet specific criteria. 1. Duty. Did the person owe you a legal obligation? 2. Breach. Did they violate that obligation? 3. Causation. Did their action directly cause measurable harm? 4. Damages. Can that harm be objectively proven? Heartbreak fails, not because it's not real, but because it's subjective. 1. Love is voluntary, and so is leaving. No matter how deep the bond felt, the law views romantic relationships as voluntary, revocable, Based on consent. If someone has the legal right to enter a relationship, they also have the legal right to leave it. Even if leaving devastates you. Even if they promised forever. Even if they changed their mind overnight. The law cannot criminalize changing one's feelings because that would violate personal autonomy. 2. Emotional pain has no clear legal measurement. Courts require evidence that can be quantified, verified, compared. Emotional pain cannot be measured like medical bills, broken bones, lost income. Two people can experience the same breakup and have completely different psychological outcomes. The law cannot function on internal experiences alone. 3. If heartbreak were illegal, love would become a prison. This is the harsh truth most people avoid. If the law punished people for leaving relationships that caused pain, then people would stay out of fear, not love. Consent would disappear. Relationships would become emotional hostages. You don't actually want a world where people are forced to stay because leaving might ruin you. You want freedom with responsibility, not captivity with safety. When heartbreak does become legally actionable, there are situations where emotional harm crosses into legal territory. But notice the difference. 1. Fraud and deception. If someone married you under false identity, lied about major facts, children, disease, finances, manipulated you for money, that's not heartbreak. That's fraud. 2. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. In rare cases, courts recognize extreme psychological abuse such as deliberate humiliation, sustained manipulation, threats or coercion, emotional cruelty beyond normal breakups. But the bar is very high. Ordinary heartbreak, even devastating heartbreak, does not qualify. 3. Abuse is not the same as heartbreak. If your ex stalked you, threatened you, harassed you, isolated you intentionally, that is no longer love ending, that is harmful conduct. The real reason you feel the desire to TOSUE. Here's the part most people won't say out loud. You don't actually want money. You want recognition. You want someone to say, yes, that hurt. Someone to validate the damage. Someone to hold them accountable. You want the pain to be acknowledged as real. Because when there is no courtroom, no judge, no verdict, it feels like the suffering happened in silence. Like it didn't matter. Like you didn't matter. Heartbreak feels like attempted murder because it kills an identity. What heartbreak truly destroys is not just love. It kills the future you imagined. The version of yourself that existed with them. The meaning you attached to us. You are not mourning a person alone. You are mourning a life that will never exist. That is why it feels violent. That is why it feels sudden. That is why it feels fatal. Sadly, I must break it to you. There is no court for grief. Grief has no judge, no jury, no sentencing. There is no legal closure for love lost. Only psychological integration, only meaning-making. Only rebuilding. And that is unfair. But it is also human. The only real justice after heartbreak. The hardest truth, justice does not come from punishing your ex. It comes from outliving the pain. From becoming someone who can hold the memory without bleeding. From realizing they did not murder you. You survived. And survival, in the aftermath of heartbreak, is not passive. It is active courage. You are not weak for wanting accountability. If you're listening to this while broken, angry, or numb, hear this clearly: your pain is real, your suffering makes sense. Your nervous system reacted exactly as it was designed to. You are not foolish for wanting justice. But heartbreak is not a crime because love was never meant to be enforced. It was meant to be chosen, and sometimes, devastatingly, it is unchosen. And still, you remain. Breathing. Hurting. Healing. Not murdered. Still here.